Hey Catechism, it's Pastor Maria, and I'm so glad that you have joined me for what is your final commandments week.
It's the final chapter.
Today we're going to discuss commandments 9 and 10, and I have a little song to get you in the mindset of what 9 and 10 are all about. It's a little funny and it has to do with the season that we're in. So I'm making a list, checking it twice, gonna get stuff all influencers says are nice. But God says not to covet. God says not to covet my neighbor's stuff. Following the commandments is a little trickier than we originally thought. Seems easy enough not to want or desire or be envious of my neighbor's house or wife or servants or cattle. You're probably thinking, I'm just a teen, why would I want somebody else's house or spouse? And we don't really have servants, and unless you're on a farm, you probably don't want someone else's cattle. But this is where it gets tricky. Commandments 9 and 10 say that we shouldn't want anything that belongs to anyone else. So that seems almost impossible, especially this time of the year when, we're circling things in magazines that we want for Christmas, making our Christmas lists. And it's the exact opposite to how society has taught us to be. Advertising culture is literally built on the fact that we want what other people have. And since we've already been talking about committing adultery and stealing and lying, this commandment must be about more than just taking something that isn't ours. And you may have been thinking all along while learning the different commandments, like, cool, I got this. I don't lie, I don't kill, I don't steal. But as we've pointed out, the commandments rarely stop at just the literal meaning. These final two commandments, 9 and 10, point out that if you thought that you were getting away with not breaking any of the commandments, this one kind of points out that we all get it wrong. And maybe it isn't so much about a house or spouse or servants or cattle, and more about other things that we're envious of. People at school who have more friends than we do, friends who, for schoolwork, their schoolwork comes really easy to them, or maybe they're really good at sports, and you really wish that you had what they do. But if we're so concerned about getting what others have, it's really easy to miss what God has given us, our very own special gifts and talents that are making the world a better place just by being who we are with the things that we have. So what is the spirit of the law? On the one hand, it is being content with what we have, and on the other hand, it's about not making our neighbors feel like they don't have enough. So if I were to rub it into Christy that I have a beautiful, well taken care of poinsettia right after seeing her dead one. Commandments 9 and 10 are not about constantly striving for more. This is linked back to not having other gods. God should be our greatest desire, not the newest Nikes, or even a perfectly well-watered, well-groomed, some would say perfect poinsettia. When Christy and I were talking about these commandments this week, we were thinking that 1 through 3 are all about loving God. The commandments in the middle are all about how we treat others. And these last two are kind of about how we care for and respect ourselves. How can we be grateful for what we have and for who we are? God made us very, very special with unique gifts and talents to serve the world. Christy shared with me a story about a boy who was at the ocean. He looked out and spotted a starfish on a rock. His family encouraged him to go out and grab it, but each time he would set out, he would get distracted by all of the little things in the oceans, little shards of shells, until his hands were completely full with fragments, and he didn't have enough hand space to pick up the starfish that he so desired. What little wants are distracting you from what really matters? There's an ancient story of the Greeks about a guy named Sisyphus, and he was famous for cheating death not once but twice. But ultimately, he was punished by having to roll a boulder up a hill, only to have it fall down the hill once he had reached the top, forever rolling the boulder up, and then it slides down, and then he's got to roll it back up, and it slides down again and again, forever. So don't be that guy. Don't be Sisyphus, constantly striving after this thing, only to have the boulder fall back down and have you strive for it again. Striving for stuff that we want, stuff that we don't have. Then we miss out on all the stuff that we do have. All of the things that we do have to be grateful for. And always striving, thinking that we'll never be enough. Because what 9 and 10 are pointing out to us, and the promise that we have in God through Jesus Christ, is that we are already enough. That we've been given special gifts and talents to help change and affect the world. We don't need what others have because we've already got all that we need.
Well, now you're just being rude and disrespectful.